Free your mind now. Be part of People's Pan-African Parliament, the Pan-African Pyramid Debate with your speaker, Andrew Irumba Katusabe.
A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome aboard. Welcome to another edition of the Pan-African Pyramid Show here at Fairway Hotel. My name is Andrew Irumba Katusabe, your speaker as usual. And tonight we're actually glad you'll be joined us here by a number of students from various universities, Kyamboko University, Kampala International, Kampala University, and Makerere University, and a number of you are following us online. This is the Pan-African Pyramid Show that happens here every Friday from actually 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. And the version of the same runs on NBS TV on Saturdays from 4 to 5 p.m. We are discussing the M23 rebel activities in DRC and Juba peace talks versus the East African role in regional stability. Since the ESC came in place, how much have they done in creating stability in the region? Because we realize the DRC or M23 rebellion is actually increasing, and just of recent, even the peace talks and the peace agreement that was supposed to have effected the peace and harmony in the South Sudan is actually not working. The young nations tennis hold on peace snapped in 2013 when President Salva Kiir Mayardit accused then Vice President Riek Machar of plotting to overthrow him, embroiling the country in an intense civil war that pitted millions of civilians between government forces and rebel factions. The South Sudanese civil war created a multitude of crises, including violent clashes between ethnic groups, the collapse of civic infrastructures, political instability, famine and food insecurity, and many human rights violations. Life became increasingly and dangerously unbearable in South Sudan, driving about 2.27 million refugees to neighboring countries like Uganda, where another 1.87 million people actually became internally displaced. Ladies and gentlemen, the signing of a power-sharing agreement between the warring factions in 2018 raised hopes that peace in South Sudan, but did little to reverse the effect that years of political and tribal conflict, violence, and disparate livelihoods has actually had on the country. 7 million people continue to be in their need of humanitarian aid and protection. But let's look at this, at what has happened over the time. In 2011, after decades of civil war in Sudan, the southern region gained its independence on July 9th and officially became known as South Sudan. 2012, South Sudan and Sudan fought over the oil-rich region of Abyei in the first half of the year. A peace deal in June helped South Sudan's oil exports resume and created a 10-kilometer-long demilitarization zone along the border. In 2013, political infighting ensued when President Kiir fired the cabinet and accused Vice President Riek Machar of planning a coup. The South Sudan civil war broke out as Ugandan troops tried to intervene for the government. 2014, ceasefires and peace talks dragged on throughout the year. By April, and over 1 million civilians were displaced, and hundreds killed when rebel forces sacked Bentiu, a town known for its rich oil reserves. Some other pundits telling me that actually the cause of the war in Congo is actually not the people in Congo. No, it is the third party. Third party, this includes people, countries like America, like Uganda, like Rwanda, and so on, who have interests in Congo. These are some of the things they speak off the camera. Some of these regional leaders, off the camera they speak something different. When you bring them into language, they don't actually say that Kagame, you have a problem, and you are part of the problem in Congo, although you are seated here on the peace talks, and you pretend to be wanting to create peace, but actually you cannot create peace because you are a beneficiary of the conflict. Number two, America, you are the one sponsoring these people.
The topic, Right Honorable Speaker, is very clear. There is no peace in the region. And the Bible is very clear. People will be claiming there is peace when there is no peace. Especially for the youth and the young people. When you go to Buera, 90% of the cross-border trade is being done by the youth. Not so?
That's correct.
When you close the border, you close it on the youth. Go to Busia, 90% of the trade is being done by the youth.
That's true.
Very many youth are sponsoring themselves in education by cross-border trade. So, what is happening to the unity of East Africa such that there is no peace? Right Honorable Speaker, for me, I say it is the double standards of our leaders. Recently, we had our president talking too much. Me, my problem with my president is talking too much.
And doing little?
And doing very little.
Hey.
Some years ago, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni gave East Africa a very good promise that there is what they call East African Standby Force. How many of you remember that? They were supposed to be in place an East African Standby Force by now. I expected that the soldiers and forces who are going to intervene in the DRC Eastern Congo War were going to be the East African Standby Force.
Hey, they are not the one.
They are not the one.
So who are these?
We saw Uganda sending Operation Suja alone. They entered East Africa, the Eastern Congo. Then we saw the Mutoro General going to Eastern Congo. Now it is Dikolum. Then somewhere Kenya also woke up and sent 1,000 forces. Independent of the East African community. Mm-hmm. So back to your question. What is the role of the East African community in that war? Zero. There's no role. They are acting independently. So where is the East African Standby Force that our president?
They are supposed to work in concert.
In concert. So where is the East African Standby Force that our president committed money to? In fact, these people came to Kampala and signed a treaty. Money was given. They were in Munyonyo. Photos were taken. East African Standby Force has been created. Now we are going to be safe. They are going to act together. Was the president lying? Meet him. And I think he was lying to Ugandans. Because where is the force? Why are they not intervening as a force of East African community in DRC? Why are they intervening?
Why is there UPDF alone? There is Kenya alone. There is Rwanda is also fighting alone.
Rwanda is also being accused there. They are being squeezed in their corner. 1,000 forces of Kenya has been sent. What can 1,000 forces of Kenya do? Are they just going to die? Is Ruto serious that he sent 1,000 to do what? To do military tourism. The way MONUSCO has been doing.
Tour of duty.
And we have heard that what they have done in the DRC Congo, they have shielded themselves there. 1,000 Kenyan troops, they are there. They are doing nothing. So I want to send a message. The one they call the father of East African community. He has disappointed us. Because he told us that East Africa is ready to defend itself. It has an East African standby force. When war has broken out, the force is not there. So, one of the problems in the M23 war is the lack of truth. On the side of the East African leaders.
On the East African leaders?
Yes.
Okay.
2, the war by M23 in the DRC Congo has marked the end, effectively, of the East African community.
It has marked the end.
It has marked the end. And I tell you this, in 1977, the East African community broke up. This thing is not new. It was once there. Why did it break up? Because Amin said up to Nakuru in Kenya was part of Uganda. That he was going to march to Kenya and take back that part. Now, 40 years later, a leadership in the East African community says they are ready to reach up to Nairobi to capture that territory. Two, a leader in Tshisekedi stands there in Kinshasa and says, you people rise up and overthrow Kagame. Didn't you hear that?
I heard that one.
So, the East African community is over. Technically,
But
it's over.
they have just even galvanized more energy by adding Congo.
But they have added Congo, and Congo has announced that they have been attacked by Kagame, a neighboring member,
And other members are simply quiet.
yes, and other members are quiet, and the Tshisekedi has said, please rise up and we overthrow that government in Kigali. So the reasons for the killing of the East African community in 1970s has now arisen. Because when Amin made that comment that he wants to attack Kenya, East Africa was over. Because there is nobody who could now invite Amin to sit with the Kenyatta at the same table. Now, who is going to call an East African community? Then you invite Kagame to sit there. Then you invite Tshisekedi to sit there. And Tshisekedi is saying overthrow Kagame. And all DRC Congo people are marching that Kagame is the one supporting the M23. Which East African community do we have? This thing has now been reduced to paper. There's nothing. If I'm not in good terms with you, and we cannot meet, then do we still have a unity? We don't. Now,
So in your analysis, the East African community is no more.
is now normal. Because
These guys have just told us they have even become more stronger. We have been 5, now they are 7.
when you have a situation where
Yes.
one country is fighting the other, and the East African community is not very big, just got about 6 members.
7.
7.
Yes.
Now, the 7th, the newest born,
Congo.
yes, which is the biggest.
It is the biggest actually.
It is attacking the one which is most powerful, smallest but most powerful, Kagame. Now, who is going to solve the problem?
Uganda.
How? Is the Uganda the institution? There is supposed to be an East African Court of Justice, not so?
It is there actually.
So it's going to be very embarrassing for East Africa and Pan-Africanists.
we have
For the Congo, which has just joined to file a case against Rwanda. Mark you, DRC Congo filed a case against Uganda in the International Court of Justice for us to enter in their country and go in war. We are still to pay. And I'm very sure Congo is going to file a case against Rwanda for entering there, and they are going to ask Rwanda to pay. Now, what kind of community is this? Where more than 2 countries have gone to the international community over conflict of invasion. And Right Honorable Speaker, I want, in the name of the Christmas spirit, to ask the East African leaders, in the name of Pan-Africanism, to give the people of Congo a Christmas gift.
by doing what?
By ceasing to fight. I tell you, this war, everybody in the world is now very sure that this war is just a strategic war. Look,
your mind now.
look, Right Honorable Speaker. M23 entered Congo some time back. Then they withdrew. When they withdrew, they kept quiet. And they started to enjoy their life in some capitals of
They had actually begun insignificant.
Exactly.
They have raised now of recent.
Now they have raised even a stronger army than they had at that time.
Previously, yes.
You see, so now they are being asked by President Uhuru just to withdraw and to go back.
Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yes, I mean that is the agreement that now you just withdraw and then we forget you. This is very wrong for the Pan-Africanist spirit.
Free your mind now.
It's very wrong.
Free your mind now.
It's very wrong. Who are these people who are being handled with kid gloves? Who are they?
Hey, that's your problem.
When Bemba attacked Central African Republic, he was tried by the ICC. When Uganda entered the Congo, they went to the ICJ. Why are the M23 not being asked to account for their lives and properties being destroyed? They're just being told, withdraw. That is a very big problem. It's a very big problem. It's a very big problem in international law. Because if they go and attack and destroy and pull out without the international community taking action, the International Criminal Court, what about if another rebel group one day enters Uganda? Maybe Dinkas and Noel. So they also withdraw and they don't account for lives and property of Ugandans. Where will the country be going? The whole world can very, very clearly see that the M23 are being handled with kid gloves. And they are not killing chicken. They are killing people. You are here, you are university students, most of you. Do you know that the university students in DRC Congo, Eastern Congo, are not going to school?
Are you aware, guys?
They are not going to school. Recently they went on the streets in Goma. They are not going to school. This is the Christmas season. You are going to see Uhuru Kenyatta having one of the best Christmas trees with his family. You are going to see Kagame having the best Christmas tree with his family. And you are going to see our Museveni here with the best Christmas tree with his children and grandchildren, as usual. And you are going to see Ruto with his children and grandchildren having a beautiful Christmas. Are these people aware of God, what they call God?
What they call God?
Is Eastern DRC going to have a good Christmas?
Now, free your mind.
Are they not Africans? Are they not people? Are they not Pan-Africanists? Let me tell you, anybody who talks of Pan-Africanism, that it is a pillar of NRM, it is a pillar of what? We must see the work. If Pan-Africanism is a pillar of the national resistance movement, please, let there be no war in DRC Congo. Let there be no war in South Sudan. Right, Honorable Speaker, what is the way forward as Pan-Africanists?
Very good. That's why I was going to ask you. Because
Mr. Speaker,
solution-oriented. What do we do going forward?
There is the English have a saying that the taste of the pudding is in the eating.
Yes.
Museveni can take his time to appear one of the best presidents in Africa. And indeed he is. And one of the reasons I continuously support Museveni to remain in power is the unification of Africa, which I think he can do. But the issue is, why is he not doing it?
But if you are saying he can, and
Why is he not
35
doing it?
years down the road,
Yes.
35, Professor, no, don't contradict yourself.
What? No, that's not. I'm on point. Why is he not unifying Africa 35 years down the road? Yet one of the pillars of the NRM is Pan-Africanism. Now, because I believe if we are united as one East African country, that there will be no war in this region. For example, one of your topic is the Juba peace process.
The Juba, yes.
In 2013, I was very alert when the war broke out. I watched on BBC and I listened to BBC radio. The very first comment on the very first day, they announced, Dinka and Noel are fighting each other in Juba. I said, hey, how did they know? The war has just begun. How did they
BBC.
know? BBC. How did they know that the Dinka and the Nuer are the ones fighting? Gunshots in Juba, the Nuer are fighting. The Dinka. I said, these people, there is already a strategy here. And there is already a deliberate thing to split the Dinka and the Nuer.
So in other words, what you're trying to insinuate is that the Americans, those white people,
British
instigated.
I had a British radio.
Oh, British, BBC, sorry.
Yes.
So those people instigated to create a fight between the Nuer and the Dinka. So that
Yes.
it becomes a triple.
They push that thing on in through the throat, down the throat.
Ethnic war.
Yes. Now, watch the M23 conflict. They are saying there is a tribe called the Banyamulenge, they are fighting for their rights. People, that is also another wage. Who told you that these people are fighting tribalistic? Who told the white people that so they are putting a wage between the people?
Because
Now,
they
in
say-
Rwanda, yes sir.
They say
Remember speaking.
the people waiting don't kill those M23 because those are our brothers.
Now
They are fighting for. So,
On top of
then-
that, on
but
top
then
of that.
UPDF had entered there.
And on top of that, the DRC army had signed an agreement with the UPDF to exchange what? Information about troop movement. Then you now say the other people are our brothers. So that means the information they exchange with you, you are going to exchange with the other people. So we need maturity in this region. We need people to reason, knowing that other people also reason. That other people also read your tweet. When they read your tweet, what do they understand? Me, I admire the president, incoming president Muhoozi. And I wish him well. But don't do such things like these simple tweets which expose the army. So in Congo, UPDF is doing nothing and it must withdraw. Because they have already shown that they're on one side.
UPDF should withdraw.
Should withdraw.
They have no business
They
there.
now have no business because
you
of what
can't
they have
kill, you can't
said.
kill your brothers.
You can't kill your brothers and you have said they are your brothers. Now what are you doing? You think that the whole world will not understand that you are playing games with your brother?
Free your mind now.
Surely, are we being Africans?
African Parliament, the
My friends,
Pan-African debate.
can you see the sense? And in this world, if you want to be safe, respect everybody. And respect, know the Bible in the book of Genesis says, let us create man in our what? Image, not so? So, when you are trying to play games on somebody's head, know that that person is in the image of God. And is God stupid? Is God stupid?
No, it's not.
No. So if God is not stupid, and Congolese were also created in the image of God, so they can understand these things. They can understand that if you are a friend of Kagame, is your uncle, and you have said that M23 are fighting brotherly war, then get out of their country, please. Because they have understood what you say. Why did you say it? You said it so that they understand you. Now they have understood you.
So you leave.
UPDF has no business in DRC on occasion of their own shooting. 2, we have UPDF in what?
In Somalia.
In Juba. Again, even there, they have a credibility issue. They have a credibility issue in Juba. When you go there, they will tell you that UPDF is fighting to keep Salva Kiir in power. Every person knows that, and they discuss it openly. So UPDF has no business in Juba. They are like ostrich that has buried its head in the sand, when the whole of your body has been studied and seen. So UPDF has also no business in the Juba peace process. So if we united as East African community, what is going to happen? 2 things. 1, that East African standby force, if it was created, would have been more received in DRC Congo than a UPDF one. Why? 1, Congolese also listen to news. I think people in this region are imagining that they are the only ones who control wisdom. Because you cannot go on Twitter and say, Kagame is my uncle, is fighting for rights of Tutsi in DRC. Don't you think the Tutsi, the Congolese have also had? They have had, not so? Then you again say, I'm the commander of UPDF and I'm coming to help you, Congolese government. Didn't they hear the other one? So when you now bring your troops, don't they see your troops as enemies?
You have come to help your brother.
They now come, know that you have come to help your uncle and your brothers. So why are people not reasoning when they think about other people's countries? Let's know that nobody controls monopoly of wisdom. DRC Congo also has people with the brains. These people are ever in Gikobo here. These Congolese, they know what is happening. So you send UPDF in DRC after saying they are going to unite with Kagame. What do you expect the people to do? That's why you see Congolese are marching in the streets of Goma against Kagame, against who? In fact, the statement by Mozi blew off the cover of UPDF. Not so. It is in fact, it endangered UPDF because they now enter the Congo as enemies. And they know it like that. That's what I'm saying.
And that should not be the mission of UPDF.
And that is a credibility issue. Which is the same credibility issue they have in DRC.
No.
You see?
So in DRC, they are there to ensure M23 do not get problems.
And that's what they themselves say.
In South Sudan, they are there to ensure Salva Kiir remains in power.
And those things are there. And when you read
I know these things.
when you read it before the tweet,
Be part of People's Pan-African Parliament, the Pan-African
I didn't know this.
with your speaker, Andrew Iruma.
when you read between the tweets, you got it. And then we had a tweet saying that we are supporting Tigrinya. Can we now go to Ethiopia? We cannot. But the force that can go there is the East African Standby Force.
But is it there?
Well, then what did Museveni tell us? He told us it is there. And they agreed to switch
Where are they? Where is this headquarters?
This is the question the president must answer. He told Ugandans that there is an East African Standby Force. Our money, when you check the budgetary allocations of Uganda, you will find
We paid.
money was paid, money was wasted. Even they were trained here. Trained for what? To
That
be
is our
silent.
money. We paid. We taxpayers.
That's why I told you that technically East African Community and East African Standby Force is over. If it is not over, where is the army?
Free your mind now. Be part of People's Pan-African Parliament, the Pan-African Pyramid Debate with your speaker, Andrew
So these guys picked a budget from we the taxpayers, paid for something that is actually non-existent.
See,
Are you saying we paid the bill? You have the answer.
I want to say here that in the spirit
Of Pan-Africanism.
East African Community and the spirit of Pan-Africanism, if the other force called East African Standby Force is there, let it be the one
Let them take charge.
to be taken to DRC, to be taken to Juba. We can do peace in countries where we still are credible, like Somalia. We don't have a problem with Somalia. In countries where we have credibility problem, let's bring our forces home. Please, possibly before Christmas.
Today is 9th of December.
Withdrawal of soldiers can take 3 days
Yeah.
because we have helicopters.
Yeah.
We have airplanes. So,
Okay, finally.
finally,
The other solution. Those are three solutions.
two solutions.
So far,
The military one and the fast
what I
and
want to
instant.
from you, one,
The fast and instant one, the East African Standby Force, which was created with our money,
Yes.
should be the one to go
and offer peace.
over peace and in Juba because we have credibility problems created by ourselves. Number two, let us fast track the East African unification process.
Unification.
Yes,
Because we were one, who will
Yes.
be fighting the other?
if the East African community can have one army, then
One country,
one country and one army.
one president.
Yes.
Is
Then-
that possible?
Yes.
One
And then
president?
that army would go in Juba and there will be no Dinka Noel conflict. Have you seen? Because it would be an East African army full of Baganda, Bagisu, other tribes.
I know there also,
Burundi. Then those ones would be the ones deployed in Juba.
I also know there would be a lot of Luo.
Yes, but those ones would be deployed in Juba, but they are not Dinka, they are not Nuer. Then the ones in the East African community who would be deployed in Eastern DRC would be Kikuyu, the Luo of Kenya, who have nothing to do with Banyamulenge or Tutsi. Are you seeing this? Then we would have peace. Because they would, when an army lands in a country which is a neighboring country, they check, they look, and they see. For example, when UPDF lands in DRC Congo, first me, as a northern, I don't know how to differentiate. But the Congolese and who know the Banyamulenge, who know the Tutsi, they say, this one, even if he's in the uniform of UPDF, this one is so and so. Not so.
They can do it.
They can do, and they can identify. So even when you take troops in Juba, someone will look and say, this is a Dinka, this is a Nuer, even if he's in East African uniform. So technically we would deploy other tribes in these regions, and we would have instant peace. And that's why I want to end with a Chinese proverb, which says, out of everything bad, there is something good. This bad word, yes.
Is that Chinese?
Yeah.
See?
I read it from a Chinese book. Out of everything bad, there's something good. Out of this bad situation of useless, unnecessary wars in East Africa, there's something good we could do. We could use these wars to unify Africa. If I were Mohozi, and if I had the powers he says he had, I would annex South Sudan in one day. Make it part of it. I would annex it. I would command my forces that from today, South Sudan and Uganda are one country.
Just like Putin. You have been accusing Putin.
I am not
annexing some parts from Ukraine.
Now that one,
that could be the same issue.
Putin is a dictator without process. That one is different. But if I were Mohozi, this is the time I would annex South Sudan, make it a part of Uganda. By the way,
and why would that solve now, Professor?
You see, then the Dinka-Nuer conflict would melt. I think that conflict would melt.
Then I also see you,
and then
I also see you joining Rwanda, Burundi, and joining Rwanda and Burundi
one country. So when you melt, you tell the Dinkas today you are one country, and it's not very hard because there are forces which are keeping Salva Kiir in power. They are our forces. They are UPDF.
Here?
Yes, they are UPDF. Today, if UPDF withdrew from South Sudan, Salva Kiir would not be in power.
Free your mind now. Be part of People's Pan-African Parliament.
Are you following me?
African Pyramid Debate.
So if
Speaker Andrew Irumba Katusabe.
Amen. So if Mohozi is true to what he's saying, then Mohozi should command the UPDF to annex that country.
Thank you much, our speaker and the fellow Africans listening to me. My name is Kandole Francis from Kyambogo University. M23 and Chuba peace process versus East African role in regional stability. We are talking about the regional stability today. But it is so hearty that as we are talking about the regional stabilities, we are looking at parties like the M23, which is in DRC, mainly in Eastern DRC. We are looking at Juba, which is in South Sudan. And we are looking at the East African community, its role. M23 is in South Sudan, I mean in the DRC. Since the independence of Democratic Republic of Congo in 1960, DRC has never been at peace up to now. So in simple terms, people in DRC have never seen peace, because even when they were still under colonization, they were suffering. And after getting independence, still they went in chaotic situations up to the date when we have I can say over 100 rebel groups in DRC. in Choco, I mean in Juba, South Sudan. South Sudan got her independence after she had broke away from Sudan of Omar al-Bashir in 2011.
Actually, the world thought we were not going to experience peace if that was the problem. The South being part of the North, forming one Sudan, if that was a problem because it was bigger, we thought by dividing, now we were going to have peace. But it is the opposite.
Indeed, many professors were saying that let us divide Sudan because Sudan, one, it was made of distinctions between the Arab Muslims and the Christians. So let us divide it into two countries. The Christians take the southern part since they were dominating there, and the Muslims stay in the North Sudan, Khartoum. But the unfortunate part of it that the war in South Sudan intensified.
Actually, both of them are at war. Yeah. Sudan is not stable, so Sudan is not stable. So it means the problem was even not living together as the North and South, as the Christians and the Muslims. It was far from that.
For me, I agree that the separation of the two would have brought peace, and indeed would have brought peace. But the problem, after the dividing of the two, I think some parties which had interest in the two countries still continue to have influence in them. Because Sudan was enjoying, after the breakaway of South Sudan, Sudan was enjoying some peace before the overthrow of Omar al-Bashir in 2019. But after the overthrow of Omar al-Bashir, then chaos started in Sudan. Up to now, we still have crisis in Sudan. After the breakaway of South Sudan, we had a charismatic leader by the names of John Garang de Mobile. John Garang de Mobile was a transformational leader who believed in peace and unity, who believed in stability. But even his end in this world was not, it cannot be explained how he was killed. So after his death, that's when they brought Salva Kiir Mayardit to become the president of South Sudan. Salva Kiir Mayardit, I can say, that has not held South Sudan together as John Garang de Mobile was doing. That's why in South Sudan, today we have a lot of chaos. Now the question comes, is the Juba peace process, or is the Juba peace treaty, can it be a turning point in the history of South Sudan? That is the question that we have tonight. Personally, I believe that if the two parties that are fighting in South Sudan, between the current president, Salva Kiir Mayardit, and the fighting rebel group, which is led by Riek Machar, if these people come into an agreement that has not been there, these people can be able to bring peace. And this Juba peace process or Juba peace treaty can be seen as a turning point in the history of South Sudan if these two parties agree. But the problem is we still have what we call lack of patriotism in these leaders. So that one, I still, there is a lot of effort that must be done for peace to be prevailed in South Sudan. When you look at the M23 rebels, the history of M23 rebels is not clear. Some people say it was it started in 2003 as a continuation of the Second Congo War in 2003. And you go ahead to look at M23 started as just a movement, but when it started as a movement, it continued to gain more strength than even the Central Army of DRC. Why is this all occurring? Now we need to look, because there is no movement that can exist even just for a single day when it has no sponsors. Who are those people sponsoring such rebel groups in DRC? Because we have over 100 rebel groups in Democratic Republic of Congo. Allegations say that in the DRC, the people who are the beneficiaries of these rebel groups are the neighbors.
Neighbors, which one?
Currently, the president of...
I'm sure neighbors like Malawi, like Mozambique.
Currently, the president of DRC, His Excellency Felix Tshisekedi, has not kept any secret, has been accusing Rwanda of disturbing the peace in DRC. And also, there are some parties which say that Uganda can be part of it is an allegation that even Uganda can be part of those parties.
So, in this case, we are having the M23 fighting the DRC government within the same country. That is you and your mother in your home. And then your auntie, Rwanda, is there. You won't get punished. The moment your auntie lives like this, or the moment your mom says your auntie is the one stopping her from punishing you, you will still get punished, even if they are there. So, this is why I base and I say the Juba peace process and the East African role in interpreting stability are a mismatch. Why? Because the Juba peace process has been comprehensive in scope. They are going to deal with everything. Deal with the ethnic minority, the culture, the gender discrimination, all that by themselves. Because if you bring in East Africa, we come in with our own ideas. There is gold here, there is this mineral here. It won't be any different with what Africa and the US are facing. Where the US will tell you, do this, I'm going to give you this. That is not just right. East Africa has made it more of a trade exchange. That's why some people encourage the DRC guys to fight, fund them in the background while they are enjoying the trade. The minerals, they are the ones enjoying the frontiers. The other guys are there fighting. East Africa, there is this in the anthem, Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, meaning for preservation of East African community. But if DRC is bad, then we are not preserving DRC if we are still protecting our interests as Rwanda, Uganda. Yeah. There is tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, enable us to live in peace. So basically, East Africa is not contributing anything important. They are just praying for the other states as they enjoy themselves.
They just pray.
Yes. Because you can't say, I am going to help you, then in the background, you're funding people to what? To fight. That is not realistic. It is a failed project, I can say.
So you believe some East African countries are funding, filming, actually motivating the war?
Yes.
In DRC?
Yes, I do.
At the same time, they are saying they want a united East Africa, and they want to live in harmony and peace.
Yes. Actually, I think the peace comes with a trade. As long as they are trading and enjoying the minerals, for them they are comfortable.
Okay. Second point. Second last.
Tutimize na malengo yetu. It's also in the anthem. May we fulfill our objectives. Which ones?
Stealing from Congo?
I guess. Those are not objectives for the East African community. The people who founded the East African community were looking at Pan-African patriotism, hard work, unity. But here, we shall be saying South Sudan is impossible. But the only thing they have done as East Africa, I can say, is allow the South Sudanese to get refuge in their region. But then, if we are talking currently, right now, crossing from Uganda to South Sudan, you cannot cross there without army vehicles following you. It all jeopardizes the East African community. M23 in DRC Congo. We can all agree that they have gotten a good leadership with intelligence. They have identified where the threats are, and we are saying East Africa should leave them to sort their issues. Because the Sudanese Transitional Government and the Sudan Revolutionary Front have signed an agreement to promote peace within Sudan. And that is basing on your mother and yourself. Because you will solve the issues faster and effectively. Then you will get back to the other people. Yes. But I would also want to add that even though East Africa has not really helped in stability, it has helped in the trade, because these people need to keep alive, they need to engage with other countries.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Nahurira Isaac, a student at Kampala University and a member of Africa Unite movement. As I have already said, the future of Africa belongs to us, the younger people, the youth. Therefore, all problems and challenges of Africa, we should have an upper hand in solving these conflicts. As youth, I say, if this much time we spend lamenting about African challenges and ill talking about the Western world, Western world's influence, is the same time we allocate towards putting solutions to our problem, Africa can be great soon. You see, of recent, youth in DRC have been rising against the MONUSCO. And we all know that UN has been in DRC for quite many years, but these conflicts, these injustices have been taking place in their presence. We cannot leave aside the fact that these foreign corporations have a hand in all the proxy wars we have in Africa. Corporations have an upper hand in sponsoring these wars because they believe that these wars can make us or can chase us out of our motherland, and they have a space for taking away our resources. Today we are discussing about the role of East Africa in bringing peace and stability in the region. There has been instability in DRC. There has been instability in South Sudan. And we cannot leave alone other African countries like Ethiopia. Like currently in Ethiopia, they are facing a crisis, Tigray crisis, whereby this war is being sponsored by the Western world. The youth in Ethiopia have been demonstrating all over, and I think we should use the same example, the way the Ethiopians, the way the DRC youth have been doing. I want to let you know that without our hand, nothing will change. Yes, nothing will change. For instance, you saw what was happening between Uganda and Rwanda, the border border conflict between Uganda and Rwanda. We had peace talks in Rwanda for quite a long time. We had disagreements, but over the sudden it ended. How did it end? These problems are diplomatic issues. These are supposed to be handled by diplomats.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Protocol observed. A very good evening. My name is Tendo Henry Martin, a student at Chambogo University pursuing a bachelor's in accounting and finance. This would be called by Patrice Lumumba that going back to the roots. Going back to the roots is all we need as African young, eloquent and prudent leaders. These are words of Patrice Lumumba himself. I would refer to Muammar Gaddafi in his lamentations. He remarkably said that you, my people, are compelled to fight against me. You're compelled to drag me down. You're compelled to near my grave, to zero my grave next to me. But you regret this. And indeed, Libya is regretting. The major, the reason as to why the M23s and the so-called Juba protests are still ongoing or are still a concurrent, let me say, activity, like order of the day, is because of these so-called superiors, these Europeans. They're keeping us in conflict, they're keeping us divided so that they can rob us of all we have. So that they can rob Africa, they can rob each and everything, the minerals, each and everything that we have. They will keep us divided, but as a young, eloquent youth, what do you stand to protect? Is the question. I'm going to talk about the ESC. ESC's role in promoting regional stability. This is just a regional intergovernmental organization of 7 partner states. That is Uganda, Kenya, Burundi, Tanzania, and Rwanda. South Sudan, DR Congo, with its headquarters in Arusha. This was instituted in 1967, purposely to ensure that there is stability, there is smooth running of the various governments in East Africa. But however, this is just a song. This is just a song that is sung but has no chorus. In other words, it has failed up to run with this. Because we are still seeing these so-called coup d'etats. We are still seeing these conflicts. This leaves us with no question. This leaves us with no reasonable doubt that the ESC has failed. It was given a mandate as the mediator in each and every aspect, but this is just a mismatch and a big flop. It has purposely failed. I don't know, maybe it's just a hidden agenda that they are being funded. Honorable Kanye said something about the chorus, that they are just praying about. They're just praying about all this unity. They're just praying about this prosperity, this peace, and so on. But they're not working towards it. They're not working towards it because they're crippled. They're crippled by these superiors. The ESC itself is just an arm. It can't move itself. It is moved by the body. You get it? It is funded by these so-called superiors, the European states. You may ask me a question as why USA was so dominant in Libya. It was so dominant there, reason being it wanted the fuel there, it wanted the petrol there, it wanted the oils that were there. You'll ask me why Europe is still stuck in DR Congo. It's because of the minerals there. And it will still fund more and more of these rebel groups. It will still fund more and more of these rebel groups. And I see no end to these wars. M23 is just like the beginning, Mr. Speaker. I really don't see these Juba wars between South Sudan and Sudan ending soon. Though it was resolved in 2011 that there was an independence for the various two states, for South Sudan, sorry. But I really saw no end to this. If the so-called European superiority is still ongoing in Africa, I see no end to this. If this so-called East African community wants to institute a very fundamental change, or something that will be looked at as an achievement, it will have to first of all do away with this so-called political crisis and violence that they are playing in favor of these European states.
Political crisis and violence.
Yes.
They need to deal with it first.
They need to first deal with it.
Thank you so much.
The DRC speaking, they neglected some communities. And these communities are coming out saying that they are fighting for their rights. This creates a chance for people who want to create insurgencies, to use them to create insurgencies.
So, in other words, the ultimate solution to the DRC issues would have been if the government took care of those people's problems.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have a chance to raise and say, I am not being catered for here or there. So right now they're using those loopholes to create insurgencies.
Because as you see firewood, you use one matchbox to light a bunch of firewood. So you shouldn't let these people to be firewood.
Ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of tonight's show. See you again next Friday. But follow this show on tomorrow, Saturday, on NBS TV from 4 to 5. My name is Andrew Irumba Katsobe, your speaker, and I'm signing out here. Thank you.